You finish lunch, return to your desk, and 20 minutes later, your eyelids feel heavy. The email in front of you suddenly takes twice as long to read. Your focus disappears, and all you want is coffee, sugar, or a place to lie down. Maybe this happens after a large restaurant meal. Maybe it happens after a sandwich at work. Or maybe it seems to happen after almost everything you eat. A mild dip in alertness after a meal can happen, but a strong, repeated crash is not something you should automatically dismiss as normal. And the usual explanation you may have heard is not quite right. People often say, all the blood leaves your brain and goes to your stomach. Digestion does increase blood flow to the digestive system, but in a healthy person, the body normally maintains blood flow to the brain. Your brain is not simply being switched off so your stomach can work. Post-meal tiredness is usually more complicated. The time of day, the amount you ate, the type of meal, your sleep, hydration, alcohol, caffeine, medicines, and your individual metabolic response can all influence how you feel. Welcome to Health for Legacy, guys. In this video, we will explain why you may feel tired after eating, what you can test safely, and when the pattern deserves medical attention. This video is for general education. It cannot diagnose the cause of your symptoms. Let's start with something many people miss. The afternoon slump is not always caused by lunch. Your internal body clock naturally changes your level of alertness across the day. For many people, there is a dip in the early to mid-afternoon. Researchers have observed this drop even when people do not eat lunch. That means lunch may land on top of a time when your brain was already becoming less alert. Poor sleep can make that dip much stronger. Quiet, monotonous work, and long periods of sitting may make it more noticeable too. Here's a useful clue. If your tiredness mainly appears after lunch, especially around the same time each day, but is milder after breakfast or dinner, timing may be part of the pattern. The meal can still contribute. It may simply not be the whole explanation. The second possibility is meal size. A large meal may make heaviness or sleepiness more noticeable, especially when it is much larger than what you normally eat. But we should be careful with simple rules. You may hear that carbohydrates always cause the crash, or that fat is always responsible. Human studies have not produced one universal answer. Different meals affect different people differently, and the timing of the meal also matters. So instead of blaming one nutrient immediately, begin with a simpler question. Was the meal unusually large? Think about the difference between a moderate lunch and a restaurant meal with an appetizer, a large entree, a sweet drink, and dessert. Even if both are called lunch, they are not the same meal. If your worst crashes follow your largest meals, portion size is worth testing. The third possibility involves the structure of the meal. After you eat carbohydrates, your body breaks many of them down into glucose. Blood glucose rises, and insulin helps move that glucose into cells. That is a normal response. Meals built mainly around rapidly digested carbohydrates or sugary drinks may produce a faster glucose rise than a mixed meal. The size and timing of that response vary from person to person. But feeling sleepy does not prove that you had a dangerous blood sugar crash. You cannot diagnose diabetes, insulin resistance, or hypoglycemia from fatigue alone. A better experiment is to compare meal patterns. For example, compare lunch made mostly of refined bread, chips, and a sweet drink with a meal that includes a reasonable portion of protein, vegetables, or another fiber-rich food, and a less refined source of carbohydrate. The goal is not to fear carbohydrates, it is not to remove an entire food group, and it is not to follow a restrictive diet because of one sleepy afternoon. The goal is to build a satisfying meal that is not oversized, and then observe your own response. The fourth possibility is that the meal is exposing another energy problem. If you started lunch already dehydrated, underslept, stressed, or exhausted, eating may be the moment when you finally slow down enough to notice it. Dehydration can contribute to unclear thinking and dizziness, which may feel like an energy crash. You do not need to force large amounts of water, but going through most of the day with very little fluid can add to the problem. Alcohol can also make you sleepy, drowsy, or lightheaded. When alcohol is combined with medicines that have sedating effects, those effects can become stronger. Caffeine creates a different trap. Coffee may temporarily mask sleepiness, but caffeine used late in the day can disrupt sleep in some people, creating a cycle of poor sleep, afternoon fatigue, more caffeine, and another difficult night. The answer is not always a larger energy drink. The fifth possibility is prolonged sitting. Many people eat lunch and immediately return to a chair, a computer, or a long drive. A short, easy walk after eating will not solve every cause of fatigue, but light activity can interrupt prolonged sitting, and controlled studies show that post-meal walking or brief walking breaks can reduce the glucose rise after meals in some groups. It may also help you feel more awake because you are moving and leaving a passive environment. If it is safe for you, try a brief, easy walk after lunch. This is not a punishment for eating, and it does not need to be an intense workout. The sixth possibility is a medicine or supplement. Some prescription medicines and over-the-counter products can cause drowsiness. Examples may include certain antihistamines, sleep aids, pain medicines, and medicines used for anxiety or other conditions. The timing matters. If the problem began after you started a medicine, change the dose, or move the dose to a different time of day, discuss that pattern with your doctor or pharmacist. Do not stop a prescribed medicine on your own. Also, mention alcohol, sleep products, and supplements. A product can affect alertness even if it is labeled natural. Now let's address the concern many people have. Does feeling tired after eating mean you have diabetes? Not by itself. Fatigue can occur with diabetes, but it is nonspecific. Other possible symptoms include increased thirst, frequent urination, unusual hunger, blurry vision, slow healing sores, repeated infections, numbness or tingling, and unexplained weight loss. Some people with diabetes have few or no obvious symptoms. The only way to know is through appropriate medical testing, not by guessing from one afternoon crash. There are other medical patterns to consider as well. If tiredness after eating comes with shakiness, sweating, a racing heartbeat, confusion, or faintness, especially if you use insulin or another glucose-lowering medicine, contact your healthcare team. Severe confusion, a seizure, or loss of consciousness requires urgent help. If you become lightheaded, weak, dizzy, or close to fainting after meals, a drop in blood pressure after eating is another possibility. This is more common in older adults and in people with certain medical conditions, but it requires proper evaluation. Other health conditions can also cause broad fatigue. The fact that you notice it after eating does not prove that food is the root cause. So what should you do next? Start with a 7-day meal and energy audit for one ordinary week. Write down when you ate, what you ate, and the approximate portion. You do not need to count every calorie or weigh every ingredient. Record whether the meal included a protein source, a fiber-rich food, a sweetened drink, alcohol, or a very large portion. Then rate your alertness before eating, about 30 minutes afterward, and again 1 or 2 hours later. Also record your sleep from the night before. Caffeine, hydration, and whether you sat or walked after the meal. Most importantly, describe the symptom accurately. Were you sleepy, meaning you could have fallen asleep? Were you physically weak? Were you mentally foggy? Or were you dizzy, shaky, sweaty, or lightheaded? Those are not interchangeable experiences. At the end of 7 days, look for repeated patterns. Does the crash happen after every meal or mainly after lunch? Does it follow your largest meals? Is it stronger after sweet drinks, refined snacks, alcohol, or poor sleep? Does it improve when the meal is moderate, includes protein and fiber-rich foods, and is followed by a short walk? Then test only 1 or 2 changes at a time. You might reduce an oversized lunch slightly. You might replace a sweetened drink with water. You might add a practical protein source and a fiber-rich food. Or you might take a short walk instead of sitting immediately. Keep the rest of the meal reasonably similar. If you change 10 things at once, you will not know what mattered. Do not use the audit to diagnose yourself. Use it to create a clearer conversation with a qualified healthcare professional if the problem continues. Schedule an appointment if the fatigue is severe, happens after most meals, persists for several weeks, is getting worse, or interferes with work, driving, exercise, or normal responsibilities. Seek evaluation sooner if it comes with increased thirst, frequent urination, blurry vision, unexplained weight change, recurrent infections, shakiness, sweating, confusion, fainting, chest discomfort, shortness of breath, or significant dizziness. And if you feel too sleepy or lightheaded to drive safely, do not try to push through it. Here is the main message. The meal may be a clue. It is not automatically the diagnosis. Ask 4 questions. When does the tiredness happen? What and how much did I eat? What else was happening, including sleep, caffeine, alcohol, hydration, medicines, and sitting? And are there warning signs that deserve medical evaluation? A mild afternoon dip may reflect normal biology. A repeated, disabling crash deserves a closer look. Do not blame your stomach, fear one nutrient, or cover the pattern with more and more caffeine. Track it, test one change at a time, and get professional help when the symptoms call for it. If this video helped you understand your post-meal energy more clearly, please like the video and subscribe to Health for Legacy. Your support helps us continue producing careful, evidence-based health content without hype or misleading promises. Thank you for watching this video, guys. We will see you in the next one. Until then, live stronger, age better, and also guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and take care.